Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, documents, whether at Mar-a-Lago or tax returns, seem to be at the heart of former President Donald Trump's legal battles, and there are new developments today. And as the holidays approach, could the U.S. face a rail strike? Why the concern is increasing.
And Thanksgiving is getting closer, as are some rain chances. The latest breakdown coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The legal wrangling over the documents seized at former President Donald Trump's Florida estate continues today, with one hearing being held in Atlanta, along with a new court filing in Florida. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
Lawyers for the Department of Justice and former President Donald Trump are back in court, this time before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta.
The Department of Justice has argued all along that it was inappropriate for the district court judge to have even appointed a special master.
The independent arbiter, Judge Raymond Deary, began his work as special master in September, reviewing the documents seized from Trump's Florida estate. David Weinstein is a former federal prosecutor for the Southern District of Florida.
What they're doing is urging the Court of Appeals to overturn what the district court judge has done, throw out the appointment of the special master, and allow the Department of Justice to proceed forward with its investigation.
The judges appeared to side with the DOJ, pushing Trump's attorney on whether they believe the seizure of documents was unlawful, asking, if you can't establish that, then what are we doing here? The Department of Justice days ago appointed a special counsel to lead the probe into the former president's handling of classified documents, which some legal experts say could mean the criminal investigation may be coming to a close.
I would expect that we are going to see something either at the very end of this year or the beginning of next year with regard to a potential indictment in this matter. And being a candidate for office at this point in time and not having been nominated doesn't provide any different protection for him.
Tuesday, Trump's lawyers also asked a federal judge in Florida to release the unredacted version of the search warrant that authorized the August 8th search of his Florida residence. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The U.S. Supreme Court has cleared the way for the IRS to release former President Trump's tax returns to a Democratic-led House committee. Trump's legal team turned to the Supreme Court, which includes 3 of his nominees, after he lost at the lower court level. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal first sought the tax returns from the IRS in 2019. During the Trump administration, the IRS resisted turning them over. The case moved slowly until 2021, when under the Biden administration, the Justice Department changed its legal posture and concluded the IRS was obligated to comply with the request. A Trump-appointed judge ruled in the House's favor late last year, and the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals refused to reverse that ruling.
Well, for the most part, clear skies as the sun sets out there. Just keeping an eye on a few things throughout the region. Mostly it's the temperatures dropping, but look at our camera from Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County. You see a nice sunset, but look over the left side of the image. I'm not sure if that's smoke from a fire or something going on. I don't believe it's cloud cover, so something to watch as we head through parts of southern Perry County out there. We do have good fire weather out there with mild temperatures and very low humidity, just not as much wind out there as we've seen the past couple of days. A beautiful sunset in Moorhead right now. You can kind of see it there at the top of the screen, 50 along Interstate 64. Temperatures are still in the low to middle 50s throughout the region, already dipping into the upper 40s. Over in Wise, and again, those dew points are down into the low to middle teens, a few low 20s, but either way, it's very dry outside as we head through the rest of tonight. Pinpoint Doppler has the latest. It's all quiet weather-wise, but it does remain very, very dry out there. Keep that First Alert weather app handy. You will see we drop down into the 30s and eventually for some into the 20s overnight. Details, though, on when we could get a little milder in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. The Biden administration is yet again extending the pause on federal student loan payments. The benefit began in March 2020 to help people who were struggling financially due to the pandemic. The freeze is expected to be extended for another 6 months, with the first payments now due 2 months after June 30th. That is unless a U.S. Supreme Court decision on the president's student loan relief program comes first. The Biden administration previously said the most recent extension would be the last, and payments were scheduled to restart in January. As the holiday season begins, there are new concerns about a possible rail strike after one of the nation's largest railroad unions rejected a deal reached in September. That agreement was negotiated with the help of the Biden administration. CBS's Ed O'Keefe has more from the White House.
The White House is closely tracking this issue since it was administration officials that helped broker the deal that was reached in September. Administration officials saying any shutdown would be unacceptable. 12 rail unions are being asked to approve the deal, but 4 so far have rejected it. Workers would get a raise under the proposal, but the amount of sick leave continues to be a major sticking point. If they can't all come to an agreement by December 5th, the first of the unions would walk off the job and the others would likely follow. And that would cause a major ripple effect across the economy just a few weeks before Christmas. One industry group estimates a shutdown would cost about $2 billion a day, causing significant supply chain issues and delays of food and fuel that could send prices soaring. Now, Congress could step in to stop a rail strike and likely would do so. They've done so about 18 times in American history. Here at the White House, they say the president is being briefed on the situation as things change. As of now, administration officials have no plans to step in to help broker a new deal. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, the White House.
Well, if you're heading away from home for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, make sure you pack your patience. The Federal Aviation Administration says more than 48,000 flights are scheduled for today, and officials say they may see up to 2.5 million travelers tomorrow on Wednesday. If so, that will set a high not seen since the COVID-19 pandemic struck. The airline industry has also been dealing with staffing shortages, which forced the cancellation of tens of thousands of flights during the summer. If you are struggling to overcome the financial stress of your debt, reaching out for help could be the answer. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa speaks to a woman who in just 2 years paid off tens of thousands of dollars with the help of a nonprofit debt management company.
It's hard to get out of debt when you keep getting hit with those higher costs, new fees, changing interest. Sometimes you need a second set of eyes, which is why many Americans turn to nonprofit companies that can help them create a debt management plan.
Heather McAfee is the first to tell you.
Poor choices with partners and being too nice.
Debt can make you feel overwhelmed and unworthy.
I think it's embarrassing. There's a stigma. I mean, if someone considers themselves somewhat intelligent and they have a job and they do the things you're supposed to do, and then realize, wow, I can't even spend my money right or save my money right. It's something that's not taught, I don't think.
She was a single mom on a teacher's salary with 2 kids. She was drowning in tens of thousands in debt. Heather ended up Googling for help and came across Money Management International, one of many nonprofit credit counseling services around the country.
What we want to do is help everybody to learn how to establish and maintain a budget. We want to, let them know that we can help them with those high interest rate credit cards.
The consultations with companies like this are often free, and they have the ability to negotiate and possibly lower the interest on the debt you owe. That's what happened for Heather.
So I still paid the full amount of my balances. They just helped negotiate with the companies with the interest.
She learned how to budget, how to use credit cards wisely, and stop impulse buys. Heather paid off $37,000 in just 2 years.
I transferred the money basically to MMI, and I was like, I'm done. Jazz hands. It was great.
She now has investment accounts and a single credit card she uses for travel.
And if I can't pay cash, I don't buy it.
Heather says it is hard to talk about topics like this, but she's sharing her story to inspire someone else to get out of debt. She says if you are losing sleep, if you have that pit in your stomach every morning when you wake up, it is okay to ask for help. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Coming up, remembering the Kennedy assassination. And a freshman at Brown University is making history as the first woman to be added to an NCAA Division I baseball roster.
Well, it's looking like a change in the pattern on the way for Thanksgiving weekend. The latest breakdown after this.